Welcome to the magical world of technology in the elementary classroom, where all 21st century learners can achieve. On this magic carpet ride, you will travel through the 10 principles of instructional technology and distance education. Our first stop will be Principle 1, Assure. When sitting down to plan technology-appropriate lessons for your students, begin by gathering information to assure success. According to Smaldino, teaching with technology and media requires careful planning to create effective learning experiences. Be prepared to plan, have the information required by the Assure model. Our next stop will be Principle 2, begin with the end in mind. Now that you've gathered your information, you can begin planning. Wiggins and Matai believe teachers should begin to plan their lessons based on what they want their students to do at the end of the road. Then decide how your students will get across the finish line. Wiggins and Matai's theory of understanding by design suggests to begin with the end in mind and plan so that your students can demonstrate their understanding, not just know the facts. Including technology in your plan, you need to decide what you ultimately want your students to get out of this lesson. Do you want them to learn a new piece of technology, or how to apply their knowledge through the use of technology? Off to our third stop, Principle 3, Clear Objectives. Objectives should be thought of as stepping stones of what your students need to do and where you want them to go. Each step or objective should have a small achievable goal which was written based upon the ABCDs of objectives. Stop 4 on our magic carpet ride takes us to Principle 4, Strategies. To achieve your learning objectives, you need to determine the instructional strategies that you will implement. The strategy should aid in creating the learning environment in which your students should be actively involved. Based on the learning pyramid from National Training Laboratories, students' retention rate is related to the learning strategy chosen. Which strategy would you choose? Our fifth stop will be Principle 5, Appropriate Media and Tools. It is up to the teacher to choose the tools and media that will accomplish his or her objective. Your lesson should not be about the tool, but about the path to their understanding of the objectives. Take a look at these two technology products created in an elementary school classroom, Gettysburg and How to Multiply. You decide which demonstrates student understanding.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to propositions that all men are created equal.
How to Multiply by Kelsey D. and Mary H. You are probably wondering what multiplication is. Well, it is just repeated addition. Repeated addition is adding the same number over and over. An easier way is to multiply. An easy way to understand multiplication is using an array. An array is objects in even amounts of rows and columns. You can multiply row by column to get your product, also known as the answer. If you still don't know how to multiply, you can count all of the objects in the array.
Now that you have seen two ways to use a digital storytelling tool, ask yourself these questions. The sixth stop on our magic ride is Principle 6, Evaluation, Feedback, and Reflection. You began with the end in mind and determined what you wanted your students to understand. Planned and implemented their learning experience. Now it is time to evaluate, reflect, and provide feedback. Assess your students' understanding of the standards. Reflect on the lessons and revise any future lessons. Provide feedback to your students on what they know and what they still need to learn. Then begin the cycle again based on what your students are now capable of. Welcome to the next stop, Principle 7, Collaboration. In the 21st century classroom, collaboration is the act of students working together to demonstrate their understanding of a common objective. Collaboration allows for students to build their own understanding while the teacher facilitates the learning process. There are many free tools available which promote collaboration. Which will you choose? Our eighth stop is Principle 8, Student-Centered. This clip shows students taking charge of their learning while the teacher acts as a facilitator. We are nearing the end of our journey, and on Principle 9, Accountability. Teachers are the ones ultimately accountable for what their students learn, how they learn it, and what they do with it. Be aware of ethical issues, copyright laws, and your legal responsibility. The final stop in this new world of technology is Principle 10, Support. Know the limits of your tools and your capabilities, but do not underestimate your students' abilities. Have a system in place for students to seek support from each other, you, or one another. I hope you liked your journey, and remember, technology is not a magic tool to student achievement. As Clark states, it is a mere vehicle for teaching.